Hello everybody, and welcome to a special kind of collect call. Today we'll be joined momentarily by Lou Costabile, who's one of the preeminent high-end Jordan collectors in the country. And in the August-September, is that right, Chris? August-September edition of Beckett Basketball.
August.
I'm sorry, July-August issue of Beckett Basketball. There was a story in there from Lou kind of picking the 12 significant oddball rare Jordan cards, and his ultimate goal was to create a full-color coffee table book of the Jordan Bulls years cards, and came to us and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, let's test it in print, see what the audience thinks." So anyway, all that to say, we have Lou on the phone. He's going to join us now, and let's see where this thing goes. Hey, Lou.
Hey, Tracy.
Tracy Hackler, Beckett Media. How you doing, man?
You know, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I've done the rigmarole of the introduction, and just excited to chat with you about all things Jordan Bulls trading cards. And before we kind of get started on the goal of this thing, talk about how you became a Jordan collector.
Sure. You know, it started out when I was a boy, and my mom wanted to put me in some things that she felt were healthy, and she felt that basketball cards weren't around, but baseball cards were. So we picked up some baseball cards, and that kind of started it. Fast forwarding into 2002, I started a business with a partner of mine called ARS Technology out in the Chicagoland area, which outsources IT. And I said, well, to start this, I'm going to have to gain some capital. So I sold all the baseball cards, and I thought, if there's one person that I would keep, that I've seen play, and I had some great baseball cards, but it turned out to be Michael Jordan, and then it kind of snowballed from there as our business continued to grow. Now,
you've come to special. I mean, a lot of people try to collect everything. They want one of everything of their favorite guy, but you've kind of specialized for any number of reasons on really rare, high condition copies of Jordan cards. Why is that?
Well, a couple things. One is my real focus was, living here in the Chicagoland area, is collecting everything Bulls Jordan, kind of everything after 90, 98, 99, the last dance, as they called it. We stopped collecting, and I feel a lot of Jordan collectors kind of had that passion where, here was Michael in his prime and playing with the Bulls, and I actually tried to collect a copy of each of his cards during that time frame. There are some exceptions. I don't collect foreign cards and oversized cards or any Wizards cards or things that are after his playing days. But in that process, I started to learn about some of the very difficult and unique cards, and it really came up. There was a guy named Jim Anderson out at a Shoebox Memorabilia in Elgin. He's still there. And he kind of showed me the differences. He's like, "Hey, do you have the gold version or the platinum version of that card?" And I was like, "What's a gold version and a platinum version?" And once I got hooked, I kind of took it to the next level.
Now, for the July-August issue of Beckett Basketball, you kind of profiled the 12 most significant Jordan cards, or 12 highly significant Jordan cards in your opinion. Kind of talk about the criteria behind why you selected those 12.
Sure. Well, the first thing I did is I said, well, let's number them to 50 issues or less. So if there's, and specifically during Chicago Bulls playing days, and those cards are in extremely high demand. There are some cards that I don't have that I'm still looking for. There's 3 of them, but with the exception of that, that's some of the criteria. The other thing I wanted to do was, the readers and the listeners right now, I wanted to show them something that they probably haven't seen before. And some of those are, the second card is the 1991 Caesars Palace Lake Tahoe Heavy Hitters. This is the only PSA 10 known to exist. There is a PSA 9, I believe, that's out in Denver. Steve Taft was the first guy to show me this card. And Oscar Gracia, who wrote the book Collecting Michael Jordan, sold me this card, and we ended up getting it graded by PSA. We showed it to Beckett first, just for clarity, for my friends here at Beckett, and Beckett didn't know what it was, because there's only about 5 of them that are known to exist. There's a couple of raw versions, and 2 PSA versions, and I think there's an SCD version.
Wow. Now, for folks who might be concerned about investment-minded Jordan collectors, what advice would you have for those type folks?
Well, I answer that question, I do want to mention one other card that currently Beckett has graded that PSA has never seen as well, and that's card number 5 on the list there on page number 5, which is the 95-96 SP Hollow Views. It's PC5A, and the A version actually has Antonio McDyess in the background.
Right.
And seeing that it's now 15 years past that time frame, and there's only been one that surfaced, this is kind of the only one known to exist. But I'm sorry, Tracy, ask me that question again. As far as investors?
Yeah, like what advice would you have for people who might want to invest in Jordan cards?
Well, sure. One of the things is Jordan, even though he's Jordan, has a lot of overproduced cards.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much value in those, unfortunately. A lot of the ones that are overproduced, you can look up on eBay or something like that and see that they just don't sell. Personally, I've never collected cards past his Bulls playing days, being here in Chicago, even though obviously he was a Wizard and I went watched him play as a Wizard. I really never considered him as Jordan, so to speak, during that time frame. And I don't think Chicago Bulls fans do either.
Right.
But, I kind of try to avoid those. As an investor, though, the cards that I would recommend, first of all, I think the Star cards, which Beckett just started grading in December of '08, are still a huge value because the high-grade cards of Jordan during that time frame, I think, are severely undervalued. And card number 1, the Star 101 that I have there, the 8.5, there are 3 9s that have surfaced since I have that card. That card's a little unique because it's a Shanko Sports card, which was the highest grade at that time for that card. But those are still great values, the Star cards, especially when they're Beckett graded, because then you know you have an original.
Sure. Now, what's the running number of Jordan cards in your collection?
I've got about 900 cards.
Okay, 900 cards. And what's do you have one that's your favorite that if everything else had to go, you would hang on to that one?
Well, one of them has a little bit of sentimental value. It's card number 6. It's the 97-98, the EX 2001 Essentials, which is numbered to 9. The sentimental value to that one is my best man at my wedding, Don Wollweber, gifted me with that card. And that's a special card for me.
That's awesome. Now, no one gets as far as you've gotten in your Jordan pursuit without the help from some key folks. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Who are some of those key folks in your pursuit?
Well, the first one I'm going to shout out, and everybody else comes second, is really the Lord, His Son, Jesus Christ, who made the provision so that I can have a family.
Right.
And get the cards. After that, everybody else comes second, but the second would probably be in some succession or in chronological order would be my mom, Jackie, who pushed me towards the cards and showing me that keeping them in good condition and things and kind of keeping them in good shape would pay off. And then my wife, Donna, is tolerant to let me allow me to play this game with the cards, and my son Joey and Frankie will probably one day be the beneficiaries. But another person is Wenchen Chang, who has done all the photography in the Beckett issue that you're seeing here. She's also put together the creation of a website called justmj23.com, and that's 23 the number. Jim Anderson from Shoebox Memorabilia out in Elgin, I mentioned him. He showed collecting some different levels. Another guy is Steve Taft out in California, who single-handedly not only helped Beckett in the grading process of those cards, but he sold me a couple of key cards that are even featured here in the book. Oscar Gracia for the collecting Michael Jordan. He's a Chicagoite here. There's Mark V out in Hong Kong, and Paula Mitchell out in Indiana, and Tony Strainer in Ohio, and some of my friends, of course, Joe Clemens and Tracy Hackler at Beckett have had some inspiration, and there's Richie in Chicago and Tim in Chicago and Joel and Dino out in Rhode Island, and a lot of people who've helped me in this process.
Well, it's all your collection's fascinating. The pursuit of your collection's fascinating, and for readers, I would direct them to the July-August issue of Beckett Basketball, where you can see the top 12 cards and kind of get the idea behind what we're trying to do. Is Lou's interested in producing a full-color coffee table book of the Jordan Bulls era cards, and we would welcome your feedback at basketballmag@beckett.com about your thoughts about a potential book. And Lou, as always, it's great talking to you, and I appreciate everything you're doing.